commit them to a sponsor or another qualified person. And my absence is the most important thing in my life without exception. And it's very likely that I might have to be taken over or cut the share short for A, because I might want to, but B, because it's very temperamental and it keeps going back to meetings. So I'll just say a prayer. Dear God, thank you that you're in charge of every minute of the day. As long as I'm abstinent, then it doesn't really matter. And my lunch is made and everyone else has got responsibilities for their food today. So no matter what happens in between meals, I can stay abstinent and I can encourage others to do that, that nothing needs to phase us. If it's the most important thing in our life, thank you. If the most important thing in my life was to be calm and pretend I was okay all the time, then I'd have to probably eat or take drugs, because I'm a very, very nervous, frightened person. And that's why I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do this share. And I have very big difficulties making decisions. When I spoke to somebody this morning in one of my calls to ask her what I could share, what she wanted to hear. And I haven't had a chance to ask you all what you wanted to hear, because when somebody says, I want to hear you, I think, well, what? And so I thought a lot about this share, about what people want to hear. And as God has it, if I dare move my screen around, I won't even see your faces. So I don't really know who's on, except Pat and me. And that's God's will. So, I mean, I saw Melanie and Anya and Marathon Mary. So I've met all of you in person, except Melanie. But I think Marathon Mary and I have spent a lot of time together. Yeah, where am I from? Well, I'm from parents who were from Poland, and they married in England, and they didn't become citizens. They never went back to Poland, and they lost a child before me. So the baby was 3 days old and she died. But any ailments, you'd go to the doctor. But I mean, the doctors didn't fix that baby. I was christened in hospital in case I died, because it was incompatibility. Anyway, I don't really want to be alive half the time, even on GreySheet. But I also am afraid of. I wouldn't know how to kill myself. I tried once and I failed. And I grew up. So I didn't get attached to my mother. I didn't know this, but I'm attached to everyone here who knows me. I'm attached to. I thought about it. I've got healthy attachments with all GreySheeters, even if they don't have them with me, because when you weigh and measure your food, you really need each other, you know. And everyone is. You never know when. I never knew when I would need to make a call. So I've established relationships, and I keep relationships going as long as the other person is willing to pick up the phone and speak to me. And I don't mind what they say. I like it. So and most people like to talk to me a lot. So I've got regular calls. When I was growing up, I loved singing in church, and I loved dancing and jumping around. And I still know movement is extremely helpful, because it can run away from the terrible things in your head, because the only other way to do that is to eat. So I would eat when I couldn't sing or dance or do like that. So I'd eat in the street later on in my life. But when I was at home, I would eat more than me. Yeah, so right now, in 2018, I needed a report from my psychotherapist, and this is what I'm looking after here. Chris's early childhood failed to provide her with a sense of worth and a belief that she had capabilities. Her self-doubt and insecurity in all relationships started from that time, when it seemed to her that she was failing everyone in every way. And Krysha's way of coping became to avoid making her own choices and decisions, leaving these to adults. And this remains true now. This seriously interferes with her capacity to establish relationships. She cannot control her urge to be taken care of and relies on the Samaritans' 12-step programs, her therapy group, and others sharing the food plan. Krysha's maintained control over her use of alcohol and replacing her compulsive eating by relying on the support of other women and men who, like her, this is a bit stupid, continue to crave for forbidden foods. She follows a rigid, expensive, time-consuming routine for all her meals, weighing and measuring each ingredient, as well as a dependency on exercise and fitness. The latter has led to some irreparable damage to her back, and she can easily stress other parts of her body, thereby restricting her mobility. Life for Krysia involves one or more daily battles with herself, feelings of hopelessness and despair, with underlying rage, which she controls by spending long hours on her own at home, either in bed or on the telephone. This was in the days before Zoom meetings, before COVID. And so that was, oh yeah. And she's always experienced periods of dissociation. Briefly, that early experience of trauma has triggered her in the here and now and leaves her with feelings and fears which she's failed to manage throughout her adult life. She quickly becomes confused, she panics, becomes distressed and muddles. These outbursts tend to keep others at bay. On occasions, Krysia is unable to bring herself back into the here and now without help. And it's very useful because I've got another PIP assessment, and I cried when I read that when I was training someone. But the PIP assessment wants to hear about my worst day. And I didn't understand that because I was kind of, I'll tell you, in the last 10 days since I heard about it, every day seemed like the worst day. But when we're in pain, 10 days of agony is worth 10 years of contentment, what you find out about yourself, because you absolutely need every help you need help. And my main thing is to stay abstinent. And I realized that when they say, do you need help? There's a question to be reminded, can you create a simple meal? Do you need help to be reminded? And every day I need to be reminded that I choose to weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the grey sheet. I have to mix with others who choose that. They don't suddenly have a difficult day and then go and they might have a takeaway, which I don't even allow myself, but they don't do what, they don't just not do it. So I then, every day when I make my calls, what are the calls about? They're about finding out how the person is getting through the 24 hours and me telling them, and then going away and then the next day coming back. They're very short, but they're consistent. In the last 2 weeks, I've also, my fridge is broken, that's a personal thing. But I lost my sponsee of 10 months, and she couldn't put it first. She's got a life to die for. I've supported so many GreySheeters to train, retrain, get better jobs, get better money, everything. And I feel like, you know, that that's my, I have to accept that. I'm never going to be able to earn my own money because I have to do my own thing.
5 minutes, Krysia. 5 minutes.
Yeah, so This is such a relief, because I'm really enjoying coming, because I know that I've got a choice whether I stay on, and I'm sure that I've helped someone already, because after talking for 10 minutes, I've found out all this in the last 24 years, and it would take a long time to share everything. But thank goodness I thought about it. Pat's seen me over the last 24 years. We've met in New York. We've met in every single possible thing we could go to. So's Anya, so's Aisling. We've been under the roof in retreats. I've watched. If I could say what I wanted from my parents, would be to say, could you resolve arguments more quickly? And could you show me how to, because anger is the thing, I was talking about it. I am depressed because I have got the past. I think it's something to do with the past, and I'm anxious because I'm fear of the future. But because that's what I learned this week, because I knew that I've got both of those. So that's why being in the here and now is important, because even in the here and now, I thought, I can't wait till tomorrow when I've done the share, it's all over and I've released the stress. But if I hadn't done the share, I'd have all those chemicals of didn't do it, and I'd be even more depressed, because I'd be ashamed that I couldn't do what you all are told to do, which I did to the best of my ability, is never say no to service or thing. But I was going to let myself. I love it when I do walk away from things, and I'll stop there because of the meeting, and 9 or 10 people might want to share. Thank you.